The Newshour Special Edition.
Good evening, India. This is Times Now. My name is Pranesh Kumar Roy. You're watching the Newshour. Rahul Gandhi, over the last few years, has been ridiculing Ambani and Adani. What comes as an act of defiance, as some would say, by Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, is that at a time Rahul has been insulting Adani, calling him crony capitalist, suit boot ki Sarkar, and Modi's friend, hum do hamare do. Ashok Gehlot rolled out the proverbial red carpet for Mr. Adani. Not just shared stage with him, but also heaped praises. The BJP has used this to call out Congress's hypocrisy. Rahul Gandhi was asked this question when he held a news conference in Karnataka. He said, look, I have never had a problem with Adani. He's a corporate. He's investing the kind of money he is. How can any chief minister oppose it? When he was asked about what he has said about Adani in the past, he said, look, I have a problem with concentration of favors to only a select few. Sample the reactions.
कांग्रेस के राजकुमार राहुल गांधी लगातार पिछले सालों में देश के उद्योगपति गौतम अडानी को लेकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के आला कमान पर टीका टिप्पणी करते रहे। राहुल जी कुछ कहते हैं, अशोक जी कुछ कहते हैं। चुनाव की नजदीकियां आते ही ये गलभाएं हैं क्यों, ये समय बताएगा, समय की रफ्तार बताएंगे। पर कथनी और करनी का ये अंतर राजस्थान का आवाम देख रहा है, लुटते हुए राजस्थान को देख रहा है।
हाथी के दांत और राहुल गांधी के सिद्धांत, खाने के अलग दिखाने के अलग। राहुल गांधी शुड फॉरगेट भारत जोड़ो, but he should do hypocrisy choro. This is the hypocrisy of Rahul Gandhi, that day and night for so many years he has been abusing Indian private sector, Indian businesses, Indian business groups that are making India proud across the globe. And today Mr. Gehlot is seated next to them. They are investing 65,000 crores in Rajasthan. They are getting solar power plant projects. The question is that will Rahul Gandhi now apologize for humiliating and trying to insult Indian private sector only and only because he is out of power?
Mr. Adani ने राजस्थान के लिए 60,000 करोड़ रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट का प्रपोजल दिया। कोई भी चीफ मिनिस्टर ऐसे प्रपोजल को रिफ्यूज नहीं कर सकता। मेरी पोजीशन मोनोपोली के खिलाफ। राजस्थान सरकार ने अदानी जी को कोई प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट नहीं दिया। राजस्थान की सरकार ने अपने पॉलिटिकल पावर को यूज करके अदानी जी की बिजनेस की मदद नहीं की है। मेरा विरोध इस बात का है कि बीजेपी की सरकार 2-3 लोगों को हिंदुस्तान के सब बिजनेसेस की मोनोपोलिस्ट बना रही और इसके मैं खिलाफ।
ये मुद्दा बनाना बीजेपी के लिए महंगा पड़ेगा, ये उनके उल्टा पड़ेगा। जितना विरोध करेंगे और नौजवान कहेगा मुझे जो सुविधा मिल रही है, रोजगार के अवसर मिल रहे हैं, उनको आप बीच में क्यों संकट पैदा कर रहे हो? ये कोई प्राइवेट प्रॉब्लम तो है नहीं, प्रोग्राम तो है नहीं। मैं उनको कंडेम करता हूँ इन लोगों को। जिस प्रकार कल इन्होंने मीडिया में चलाने का प्रयास किया मिस्टर गौतम अडानी को लेके भी, हमें गौतम अडानी हो या कोई भी अडानी हो, अंबानी हो, अडानी हो, अमित शाह के लड़के का नाम जैसा है वो हो, हम सबका स्वागत करें यहाँ पर जो इंडस्ट्री के लोग हैं। हमें तो रोजगार चाहिए, इन्वेस्टमेंट चाहिए।
Now, I don't know what to make of what Ashok Gehlot said, but let's open this up. Shehzad Poonawalla, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Karan Verma, author, political analyst, Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, and Sanjay Jha, author, political analyst, completes the panel. Good evening, gentlemen. Sanjay Jha, let me begin by asking you, Adani was crony for Congress party for Rahul Gandhi all this while. Today he's investing 60,000 crores in Rajasthan and he's become corporate now.
Well, a very quick response, and I will base it on figures. But firstly, it's so sad to see the BJP spokespersons behave like lawyers for Mr. Gautam Adani. What a monumental shame I heard Mr. Poonawalla's comments in the introduction to this program. He seemed to be the cheerleader for Gautam Adani. I think that is such a shame and such a repugnant reality of our times. Now, let me give you some facts and figures. In 2014, before Mr. Adani, began to see some skyrocketing growth, we all know Mr. Modi became Prime Minister. Now, look at the data. This is staggering data. Your viewers and the panelists should know this. In 2014, Mr. Adani's wealth was $4.5 billion. In 2020, it became $11 billion. In 2021, it became $76 billion. And in 2022, he's the second richest man in the world, $252 billion. So during the time of Mr. Modi, his valuations changed, his net worth changed from 4 billion to 150 billion. He becomes the second richest man in the world. No problem. He can become the richest man in the world for all I care. But the issue here is, look at the acquisition of businesses that have happened on account of government charity. Number one, coal policy. Look at the way airports were acquired. 6 of them, all of them went to him. No experience, he gets all the airports. Look at the way SEZ policies were changed to get certain tax gains. Piped natural gas. The entire infrastructure business has been literally handed over. He had no experience of cement. Today he is the biggest cement manufacturer in this country. Now I can tell you straight for a fact. Look at this data. It's very interesting. Today he's the second richest man in the world after Jeff Bezos, or maybe the third richest man. That doesn't matter. Amazon's revenue is 486 billion. Adani's revenue is 29 billion. It's almost a difference running into 20 times. But he is the second richest man. I mean, you can straight away see that this is fueled not by crony capitalism.
No, Mr. Jha, while what you've said, while what you've said is fact, is a fact. But the numbers that you quoted can't dispute that.
Yeah.
All that I want to ask you, if what you're saying is true, why is the Congress adding to the riches or the wealth of Mr. Adani? Why are you doing it? Is Gehlot also suit boot ki Sarkar?
Good point. Very good question. Let me answer that. Mr. Gehlot is running for election for the Congress, whether he runs for it or Sachin Pilot runs for it. The Congress is running for an election campaign in 1 year's time. All state governments try and attract investors.
Okay, so as long as Adani and Ambani give money, they are corporates. They are okay to deal with, but if they are investing or doing business in BJP states, they become crony capitalists, they become suit boot, they become hum do, hamare do. Shehzad Poonawalla responding to what you said.
No, you got a good point. If the Rajasthan government has given land or has forced banks to give cheap credit, which is the case in this case, or if it has created subsidies where none existed, and it has cheated the taxpayer or not created fair competition before the biddings or the deals have been given, then the Rajasthan government is as guilty.
But Mr. Jha, forget all that. I think you missed the last bit. You focused on what Shehzad Poonawalla was saying in his reaction, but you forgot to listen to what Gehlot said. He says Adani is creating jobs.
Well, let me tell you, Adani and anybody else can create jobs. The question is, are they getting business in a transparent, competitive bidding process? And does it create justice in terms of actually allowing fair competitive
Okay, but let's get a response from the BJP. The charge is that the BJP has become a cheerleader for Mr. Adani.
We are cheerleaders for everything that is positive and shows India in a good light in the world. But having said that, had Sanjay Jha not been from South Bombay but from Punjab, maybe he would have understood कि मेरा कुत्ता Tommy और तुम्हारा कुत्ता कुत्ता. This kind of logic, this kind of hypocrisy only Sanjay Jha can come up with. Either you're a legitimate businessman or you're a crony capitalist. You can't be a legitimate businessman in Mumbai and in Jaipur and you become a crony capitalist outside the borders of non-Congress or when you're in non-Congress rule state. So that kind of logic only a suspended congressman or somebody who's suspended in logic can make. Now secondly, today I'm glad that Rahul Gandhi has done a U-turn on what he has been saying all along. Today Rahul Gandhi has acknowledged that Gautam Adani or the Ambani group or all other groups which are actually something that we should be proud of is actually a legitimate legitimate business people and they are not crony capitalists and that they do business legitimately. But look, what has happened so far is that Rahul Gandhi, whenever he's out of power, he abuses institutions that don't favor him. Whether it's the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court comes in his favor, then it's fine. If it's against him, he abuses the Supreme Court. If it's the Election Commission, you win an election in Rajasthan, it's fine. You lose an election, the Election Commission is bika hua. So this kind of argument. Now, who has done crony capitalism? Who was the one who ran the license Raj? There used to be a license Raj in this country until 1991 where people could not even do business freely. You had till 2014 only 4 unicorns. Today you have more than 100 unicorns. Are all of these people Adanis and Ambanis? You also had a situation where you had only 400 startups till 2014. Today you have 70,000 startups that have come up in this country after 2014. So who has opened our business? Ease of doing business has gone up by 80 positions. This shows that today it is possible for everybody, whether it's Adani or whether it's anybody else, whether it's new companies that have been founded, to do business. But the more important point is, Pranesh, is only this, that look at the double standards here. That when you give Dighi Port to one group, it's fine. When you give 1600 hectares of land to that group, it's fine. When you give a solar power plant project to that group, it's fine. Prior to 2014, when you give you give SEZ to that group, it's fine. You give 90,000 crores worth of benefits to that group, it's fine. 1 lakh crores of loans is given to that group, it's fine. Before 2014, these groups were not a Rediwala at Karol Bagh. They were legitimate businessmen. They were very high net individuals and they were very high net companies. So nothing has changed except for the fact that Rahul Gandhi has gone out of power, and therefore, as with everything else, he sees that this is also something that he should criticize and put false claims on.
Yes, Mr. Jha, go ahead.
A quick response. Firstly, I think, one should not lie with such a confident face. The ease of doing business, my friend, has been scrapped by the World Bank. You should know your facts. And it's good to be a lawyer and a cheerleader for Mr. Adani. There's no problem. But for God's sake, don't lie with a straight face. I'm very happy, Pranesh.
Tell us the number of unicorns you created.
I didn't interrupt you.
You talk about the unicorns and the startups you created. Chalo, this is fake. You talk about the startups you created. Talk about the startups you created, Mr. Jha. I understand that you've not been hired by any corporate firm for a very long time, but that doesn't mean you start abusing every legitimate corporate company.
Let him respond.
Understand that despite your best efforts at being a corporate communicator, you haven't been hired. The Congress has no place for you. Doesn't mean that you abuse every legitimate corporate in business. And when the Maharashtra government, of which you were a supporter, gives them the Dighi port, that's fine. In Kerala, the UDF gives them the Vizhinjam port, that's fine.
He's responding to that.
Can you stop this guy for a minute?
Yes, Mr. Jha.
Make your point.
My larger point is this. And Rahul Gandhi has said what I think the Congress needs to articulate more often, which is that it is not at all anti-corporate. Let me tell you, it's a Congress that has actually liberalized, privatized and allowed foreign direct investment to completely change the story of Indian economy. The perception when you criticize crony capitalism, and I will add a point, this is oligarchy. This is about first among equal amongst India Inc. I live in Bombay. I meet so many CEOs from different companies. Let me tell you something. All of them in the country tell me they're scared of ED raids and CBI raids and IT raids. And they also understand that the Modi government is favoring a few. Mr. Adani stands out, and it's for Mr. Adani to manage his own perception.
Hold on. Sanjay Jha, if Mr. Adani stands out, why is the Congress joining the pack?
I'll tell you why. If today I was the Chief Minister of Rajasthan and if Mr. Adani came to me with a business proposition that helped my state get an investment, that helped create jobs, and I did not have...
I'll tell you the problem with that logic, sir. I understand the point that you're making, Mr. Jha, with due respect, and I want to bring in Lokesh Jindal also. Lokesh Jindal, let me read out what Rahul Gandhi said, what Congress party in fact said on August 25th, 2022, this year, not too far ago. Loans offered on a platter to friends of the NDA poses colossal risk to the economy. He said this about Adani. And now Ashok Gehlot is sharing stage, shaking hands, doing business with him. Rahul says, look, I have no problems with Mr. Adani. I have a problem with concentration.
I would agree with Mr. Jha. What Mr. Jha intended to say is, you cannot do away with private sector. Private sector is going to be...
That's not the... No. You're not answering the question. Lokesh Jindal, this is not about private sector. We are talking about... No. Does paisa matter or principle? Paisa de rahe to theek hai. Lekin ye principle kahan gaya, sir?
BJP government's policy, it has led to one single player dominating the entire private sector. That is what we have been opposing against. We have been.
But you are opposing. But you are opposing. No, you are opposing and then doing business.
No, we are not opposing the private sector. Please, we are opposing the manner in which private sector is being transformed. A private sector with a monopolistic form of a competition is disastrous for the economy. We say that let all corporates come in, let there be perfect competition so that the consumers, they can gain the benefit out of it. There should be an efficient economy.
No, I salute that spirit. Great thing to do. No, great thing to do in principle. But no, you're not answering that question. Mr. Jindal, no, I'm sorry. I usually don't interrupt, but you're not answering the question. The problem is, here, Congress party, it seems, has put paisa above principle. That's the point. And Sanjay Jha, I think, conceded when he said that, look, when Mr. Adani is offering so much of money and election season, all that, how can Mr. Gehlot says no?
Private sector, please understand. When Mr. Gehlot, he's talking about the investments coming in, he says that it's the private sector which has been invited to invest in Rajasthan. And that is what is being
No, so if the investment is in Rajasthan, Karan Verma, as long as the investment is in Rajasthan, it's all great. The moment investments don't come to Rajasthan, the corporate becomes crony.
No, we say, see, it was Congress which liberated the economy. Please,
Sir, Pranesh, let's not talk about liberation. Do you want me to play out what Rahul Gandhi has said about Ambani and Adani?
Let me explain this, please. Now in 2014, when the gross investment rate was 36%, at that point of time also, the credit that was being made
You are still not answering the question. You are still not answering the question. Lokesh Jindal, Karan Verma coming in.
Pranesh, now please allow me some time. Let me just first factually check Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha raised a few questions. Firstly, he gave crude numbers on from where Adani's wealth jumped. Let me just bring his attention to the fact that Mr. Adani, even in 2007, was 13th on the Forbes 40 list of richest Indians. And from 13, he jumped to number 7 in the year 2011. If we just talk about relative percentage increase, and numbers are never given raw, there is always a context and percentage increase that we have to take into account. 2011, when Congress was in power, was his biggest jump, when he jumped from 13 to 7th, and his wealth also more than doubled. So let's not go there that it's BJP and Modi under whom Adani has touched heights. He was already touching astronomical heights. That's number one. Secondly, Mr. Jha just said that if somebody is coming to make investments, I would of course welcome him. Sir, I would again factually check you. 5 solar panel projects were awarded to Mr. Adani in 2020 by the Rajasthan government. After due checks and balances, they were awarded. Similarly, the Dighi port was awarded by the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi when they were suffering a loss and when it had filed for insolvency in the NCLT. So please get your facts right. The truth is, I don't blame Mahavikas Aghadi for cronyism, neither do I blame the Rajasthan government, because they went by a fair process when they awarded merit. Adani and Ambani have been the biggest investors and they've won the maximum contracts through due process. So let's not ostracize the business people of our country and celebrate the entrepreneurial spirit. Celebrate the fact that today we have so many unicorns here. And they are the ones who we have to partner with for creation of jobs.
Can I reply, Karan? Now, Karan, you made a mistake by comparing investments to that of acquisitions. There's a huge difference between both of them. In April, the ACC cement, which was acquired by the Adani Group, and all such forms of acquisitions, whether it is privatization of ports and all happening, that is entirely different from a business proposition which he comes across and he invests. Please understand, there are two different. When I'm talking about net worth,
I talked about the solar panel
you stated right now. You stated right now. See, when I'm talking about the estimation of a person's wealth, at that point of time, what is taken into account is the market share which that person is able to appropriate with the policies that are in due course. Now, what has happened during the Modi regime, the policies are such that there is an increase in market share of Adani Group. That is what Mr. Jha intended to say. He is not against the private sector. Private sector
has its due
No,
share.
nobody is
But
saying that
within the
Mr.
private
Jha
sector
spoke
itself,
against
there
the
has been an
private sector.
increase
No, Mr.
over
Lokesh
decade
Jindal.
That happened even in
Mr. Lokesh
2011.
Jindal, you
This has
can't
been a
rephrase the
steady
question.
rise.
You've written
This
an
has
answer.
been a
आप उसके
steady
हिसाब
rise.
से आप
In fact,
सवाल लिख रहे हैं.
2011 was the
Shehzad
greatest
Poonawalla,
year.
no, Shehzad Poonawalla wants to
First
come
of
in.
all-
1 minute. I'll read out Mr. Jha and Mr. Jindal. How did Gautam Adani's wealth rise by 50% even as others are struggling? Rahul Gandhi said this 13th March 2021. His words, not mine. Shehzad Poonawalla.
Now look, first of all, let's not confuse the issues. This has to firstly be about principle. If principally some corporates are indulging in crony capitalism, how do they become kosher corporates when they go to another state? So if he has done something illegal and immoral in another state, in India, then shouldn't you, by your principles, not allow them an opportunity to come into your state? Point number one. That means they were always doing legitimate business and you were only targeting them unfairly because perhaps this could be a method of extortion, that unless you come and do business with me, I will keep labeling you, I will keep making accusations at you. Secondly, please tell me, those who can't have enough competition within their party and have made their party a monopoly of two people in a family are talking about creating competition. Pranesh, you and I are, now please, now can I not be interrupted? Mr. Jindal, I did not interrupt you. Do not create a monopoly in this debate. Do not create a monopoly in this debate. Wait your turn. You'll get an opportunity to speak. I know you've prepared an answer. You'll get an opportunity to speak. Don't make me force you. Don't force me to interrupt you and you interrupt me. That's not the way to debate. Pranesh, let me complete the point I'm trying to make. Pranesh, at least 4 panelists are very young, but Sanjay Jha would remember that in the old days, when you used to go for a telephone, there was just one company giving telephone. There were no multiple telephone companies. There was only one company. There were no mobile companies. There were mobile companies also when it came. There was only one mobile company. So, you would remember the car companies. There was only 1 or 2 car companies. You would have to have a waiting for 6, 8 months. Sanjay would remember. He would have probably applied for a phone through some MP of Congress party and he would have got a phone connection after 1 year. So, he would remember those days. Today, there is a competition. And why doesn't Sanjay tell me how many unicorns before 2014, how many after 2014? How many startups before 2014, how many after 2014? This is not about wealth creation of one corporate or 2 corporates. This is about making an ease or convenience of doing business in this country. And therefore, not just Indian corporates, but corporates abroad too are saying that if India is the best place to do business, not for the coming decade, but for the coming century.
Sanjay Jha responding.
Yeah, Pranesh, very, very quickly. One should just go back and look at who campaigned in the 2014 elections using the very famous Adani transport carrier in the form of air jets. You will get to know the political proximity that the businessman has with India's Prime Minister. It is hardly a secret. The world knows about it. The second bigger question, this is oligarchy. This is not even crony capitalism. I can tell you the way the rules have been tweaked in this country to favor one industrialist. He asked me, will there be an investigation? Right now, it is not the government of the opposition. But I do believe in the interest of Indian economy, for the taxpayer, for the common man of India.
Mr. Jha, no.
It must be investigated.
Mr. Jha, sir, allow me to come in, but in the interest of, sir, logic and common sense, if this is oligarchy, Rahul Gandhi is saying, I have no problem with Mr. Adani. He's a corporate, genuine corporate, trying to invest in Rajasthan, doing business legitimately.
Well, Pranesh, let me ask you, who is going to investigate about why the rules were changed and 6 airports were given to Mr. Adani? Who's going to investigate that? The government has to do it. The law enforcement agencies are with the government, and we know his proximity to the political power. Nobody's going to do that.
But sir, the proximity does not make him a... No, 1 minute. The proximity, sir, I mean, Mr. Jha, sir, I have high regards to proximity does not mean that he's in the wrong.
Well, let me tell you this. In this country, the unique story of India is its ability to produce talent and entrepreneurs. But if today, supposing Karan gets all the business or Lokesh gets all the business and Shehzad, you and me are kept in the sideline because we are not having that cozy equation, that is not
okay, now you have one picture. Okay, focus. I think Shehzad is trying to show something, but even if
let me explain. No, I understand Sanjay's problem. I understand his personal problem. But this is the same method.
Just one question for you.
You have asked many questions. Now
will you disclose who gives you electoral bond money? आप मुझे ये बता दो.
Very good. Now can I answer the question? I'll answer.
Who funds the BJP?
Yeah.
Who gives you electoral bond money? You tell us that.
No. Sanjay Jha, I always knew. Now can I answer the question?
Yeah, respond to what Sanjay Jha is saying.
Sanjay Jha, under the old policy also, when corporates used to make donations, the reason why their names are not disclosed is because people who are vindictive like you would go after them and then squeeze them if you ever got an opportunity to come in government. Point number one. Point number one. Point number two, why doesn't the Congress party start a trend of disclosing all its corporate donors and other donors and put out the list on a website? So खुद तो नहीं करेंगे पर दूसरों को देंगे बहुत ज्ञान. तीसरी बात, now 1 second, why is he interrupting? Pranesh, let me make a point. Now, why is he interrupting? Now, here's a picture of Gautam Adani. Here's a picture of Gautam Adani with Robert Vadra prior to 2014. And I've seen pictures of Robert Vadra using his jet also. So does that mean that the Congress's first family? No, does that mean he's constantly speaking on me, Pranesh?
Mr. Jha,
suit a debate.
Let's not talk over each other. You make your point, Shehzad.
If pictures are the way to go by this, then there are pictures of people like Robert Vadra also with Gautam Adani. What does that mean? This is not about Gautam Adani. This is not about, corporates being called as crony capitalism when you feel it's convenient. The point is that if you feel that there has been something wrong done, then why don't you investigate rather than give them another project in Rajasthan? But the reason why you're not doing it is because you know that they are legitimate businessmen. This has become a new fashion that you target people, and look who's talking about capitalism and crony capitalism. You gave your Damachri projects and land in Haryana, and so that he could make a killing out of it, where in money invested was few lakhs and you got a return of hundreds of crores. That is the model you applied, and you're talking about people who've been working for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years building this economy.
He's responding to you. Yes, Mr. Jha.
Pranesh, I'll tell you what I think the Congress put up on its manifesto in 2019. If the party comes in power, we'll investigate the Rafale deal. I'll tell you why. It is
the Supreme Court threw it out.
Of crony capitalism. Just 1 minute, Shehzad, don't interrupt.
The Supreme Court threw it out. What will you investigate in it?
1 minute, just 1 minute.
Let him make his point.
In the case of Rafale, the deal was given to a famous industrialist who went publicly bankrupt. Isn't that a clear case of crony capitalism?
That deal was not given by the government of India. What deal are you talking about? The offset project was given by Dassault. It was always in the domain of Dassault. And by the way, you two had planned to give the same company this so-called offset project. You too wanted to collaborate with the Ambanis in that. This has all been resolved. These arguments have been made by far more competent people in a court of law. But rejected. Now you need to believe the Supreme Court, or you need to believe Rahul Gandhi. I choose to believe the Supreme Court.
And Rahul Gandhi had to apologize for saying Chaukidar Chor hai.
It is an open and shut case of corruption.
Now they are suddenly against Rafales also. They are against India getting fighter jets. They are against India getting modern equipment to fight China and Pakistan. This is the problem with the Congress.
Gentlemen, we've run out of time. After an intense debate, I thank all of you, Karan Verma, Lokesh Jindal, Shehzad Poonawalla, Sanjay Jha, for joining us on this story. Taking a short break, but a big breaking news lined up on the other side.